Country there, we could see spits and spots of rain where the cloud is thick enough. Central southern England, you could see some starry skies overnight, and heading further north, you can see there will always be more in the way of cloud and the odd spot or two of rain, and that leads us into a fairly cloudy and a damp day for New Year's Day. Here's your summary. Find out what's in store for the next 5 days on our website, gm.tv.
Good morning. New Year travel misery for thousands as engineering works cause rail chaos.
Know your limits, the true cost of drinking too much this New Year's Eve.
And losing weight, going green and saving money. Your resolutions for 2008. That's what we're talking about on New Year's Eve, the 31st of December, 2007. Good morning, you're watching GMTV Today. It is coming up to 7 o'clock. We've got more on all of those stories across the show and the rest of today's news from Priya Kaur-Jones in just a moment.
And after 8, the daughter of a Second World War veteran who is facing arrest after she tackled yobs who vandalised a memorial garden.
And in the next hour, Biggins is back. He can't get enough of the King of the Jungle, so he's going to be here sharing his top tips if you're spending tonight in front of the television.
Wearing a bit of lilac for New Year's Eve as well this evening. Looking good in it. He walked in.
Ah, OK, so you've just seen him
lovely,
already?
Yeah, looking lovely. Bit of lilac.
Just checked in with you, did he?
Checked
Everyone
in.
has to check in with the mayoress of GMTV.
I know, I do look a bit like I've got a mayoral chain on this morning. I might be flashing the nation. But
a position of local importance.
Exactly, exactly. Dame Kate Garraway.
Something you've always aspired to,
exactly. If you're not, what are you being so rude to me for?
I think you'd be very good in local politics.
New Year's resolution for you: be nice to me next year.
Do you know what the wife said to me yesterday? She said,
be nice
I've
to
got
Kate.
a great idea for your New Year's resolution. What? Stop nagging me.
It's a brilliant
I
one.
think sort of
well
domestic
done,
direction,
Mrs.
I think,
Shepherd.
is a worthy cause.
I think so.
The rest, she calls it nagging.
Domestic direction?
Yeah.
God, I had a belly full of that. I had a belly full of that from Derek yesterday. I'll tell you about that later on. Where better to spend New Year's Eve than the banks of Loch Lomond? Good morning, folks up there.
Hey! Hello, good morning. Welcome to our humble abode, Kate. We've flung open the doors because it's Hogmanay.
It's our weekend retreat.
And this is traditionally when the Scottish throw fantastic parties, so we thought we'd invite you all along. It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, we're at Cameron House this morning, and later on I shall be showing you what Keith Chegwin wears under his kilt.
And can I just say we rehearsed this, and it's very impressive.
Oh, I can't tell you. Oh, matron. Catch you later.
Didn't we all see the show a few years ago?
Yes, we've all seen it, Keith.
Let's get those news stories from Priya.
Thanks, Kate. Good morning. Our top story at just after 7. Thousands of train passengers face chaos today because of engineering works that should have been finished by now but haven't. Part of the West Coast Main Line will be closed today, affecting those travelling on routes between London, the Midlands and Scotland. Well, Cordelia Kretschmar is at Euston Station now. Cordelia, mainly Virgin trains that are affected today.
Yes, and for rail users, especially Virgin Rail users, the New Year's headache kicks in a day early, I'm afraid. What's happened, and the one causing the most pain, is the West Coast Main Line. If you're travelling from the West Midlands, North Wales, the northwest of England or Scotland to or from Euston, you're going to have to get off the train at some stage, get a bus, get back on, add at least an hour to your journey, and do check ahead. Another little nasty surprise in store for rail users later in the week on Wednesday when everyone comes back to work. Rail fares are up by far more than the government had hoped they would be, in some cases up to 15% rises. If you're buying a season ticket from Hayes to London, for example, Hayes in Kent to London, you're going to be paying hundreds of pounds more this year than you were last. On the roads, I'm afraid the picture's just as gloomy. This is breakdown week. The AA are bracing for 45,000 people to be stranded in their cars that have sat doing nothing for 2 weeks. The batteries have run down, they get back on the road and they don't perform this week. That's what the experts say. So if you're travelling today, try and fly. That's the only way to go at the moment. We've got no big delays from any of the major airports, and we've got a much more comprehensive roundup of what's going on travel-wise in about 10 minutes' time.
Brilliant. Thanks, Cordelia. Reports coming out of Pakistan suggest that officials will decide tomorrow whether to postpone elections scheduled for next week after the assassination of opposition leader Benazir Bhutto. It comes as Prime Minister Gordon Brown has appealed for calm in an article in a Pakistani newspaper today. We can talk now to Simon Mohsin, a senior presenter with Pakistan's Dawn News channel, who's in Karachi. Good morning, Simon. Any indication when these elections are actually going to be held?
Good morning. Yes, it's just come through to me. The news that's breaking in Pakistan is that the Election Commission, after a meeting this morning, have decided to delay their decision tomorrow. And that's going to be based on what's going on in terms of the violence that has erupted in all the provinces across Pakistan. Now, as you know, I'm sure, violence erupted right across the country following the news that Benazir Bhutto had been assassinated. Cars were burned down, shopping plazas, entire shopping plazas were torched, and I haven't been able to leave my home for the last 3 days of national mourning. Today is the first day that I've actually left my home. So there's a really tense situation, and the Election Commission say they're going to base their decision on that. However, let me tell you that Benazir Bhutto's party, the PPP, are pushing for the election to go ahead on time.
Simon, thank you for the update. The Police Federation has urged the Home Secretary to reconsider her position over the police pay dispute. Jackie Smith provoked officers' anger when she said their pay rise wouldn't be backdated as had been agreed. Now the organisation that represents police says it's not too late for her to change course and stop the situation escalating next year. Half of all violent crime is alcohol-related. That's one of the shocking facts released by the government today as part of its attempt to tackle binge drinking. It comes on the day that many people will be planning a big night out to celebrate the new year. Richard Gaisford has been in Portsmouth looking at the scale of Britain's drinking problem.
Get out of hand here on New Year's Eve and you'll feel the full force of the law and probably wake up in a cell in 2008. It's a zero-tolerance policy to target alcohol-fueled trouble. And the police won't go softly, softly.
In 24 hours, it'll be a very different picture on what's known as Hampshire's most violent street. Packed with pubs, clubs and bars, they'll have twice the number of police out here dealing with drunken New Year's Eve revellers than they would have on any other busy weekend night.
The Home Office says that around half of all violent crime is alcohol-related, and 1 in 3 reported rapes happens when the victim has been drinking. And without their wits about them, 8 out of 10 pedestrians killed on weekend nights have been drinking. The official advice is to watch how much you drink, but is anybody listening?
I do get drunk, but not out of it. But some people do get a bit stupid and end up in hospital.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Drink safe, stay safe.
You should watch what you drink, but at the end of the day, it's always a crazy night. Yeah. How many people are out? Do you know what? I'm so drunk, I don't even know what I'm saying.
The ambulance service is preparing for the busiest night of the year. Staff will work overtime to deal with hundreds of expected calls through the night.
It is madness. From 12 o'clock till 3:30, 4 o'clock. You'll just be in, out all the time.
So wherever you're celebrating New Year's Eve, the government's urging just a little restraint. Ministers admit that 1 or 2 drinks can certainly help the party go with the swing, but they say 1 too many and it could be a less than happy start to 2008.
80 passengers have come down with a potentially fatal stomach bug aboard a brand new cruise liner. The outbreak comes less than a month after Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, officially launched Cunard's Queen Victoria. Some say the ship is cursed after the champagne bottle failed to break on the launch. Losing weight, spending less, quitting smoking, they're amongst our top New Year's resolutions, according to a survey. But if you haven't made any yet, experts say it could be too late. Nick Dixon reports.
More than 80% of us make them each year, but barely 10% actually stick to them. It seems our New Year resolutions aren't worth celebrating. However, experts say there's now 3 ways to ensure success. Psychologists believe it's a mistake to make resolutions on New Year's Eve, so if you haven't already made them, don't bother. Secondly, choose something new, not the same ones you made last year. And thirdly, they say it's crucial that men and women make different resolutions. Cutting down on the drink and giving up smoking are the usual favourites, but this year, top of the list is losing weight and taking better care of your cash. And bottom of the list, something much more manageable, cleaning out your wardrobe, a thrilling start to the new year.
Something we'll all be doing here at GMTV. On our website this morning, if you are heading out tonight, we've got advice on how to stay safe. Find out what are the biggest concerns for couples on their wedding day. And get more on that story we just talked about. The top 10 New Year's resolutions, all that and more on gm.tv. It's just gone 7 minutes past 7. Later on, we are in Loch Lomond to sample the delights of the Scottish New Year's celebrations. But first, here's what's happening where you are.
Thank you. Good morning. Here are the main stories in the northwest. An investigation's underway after more than 40 houses were flooded by a burst water main in Liverpool. Dozens of families had to leave their homes on Saturday night in Huyton. It's likely Liverpool Road will be closed for much of this week for repairs. Those affected have been able to move back into their homes, but it will take some time to clear up. United Utilities will visit those affected today as some demand compensation for the damage.
It's dirty, isn't it? It's filth. You know, we've worked hard to, you know, buy all our things and, you know, to just watch them get washed away. It's bad.
A man from Lancaster has died after falling 300 feet while walking with his son in Cumbria. It happened yesterday afternoon on Blencathra near Penrith. The 60-year-old was airlifted to hospital but pronounced dead on arrival. Thousands of North West train passengers face New Year travel disruption as improvements to the West Coast Main Line run over schedule. The work affects Virgin services from Manchester and Liverpool to London. The company's called Network Rail bullies for going back on a promise to have the upgrades finished for New Year's Eve. But Network Rail says it needs extra time to carry out the work safely. A farmer from Cumbria says he's looking forward to getting back to work after doctors saved his life after he lost his arm. 30-year-old David Mason caught his arm in a tractor drive shaft last January. Surgeons took 15 hours reattaching the limb. Those doctors hope he can return to normal life, and his family is looking forward to a better new year.
Everything runs through your head about the house, work, your life, and what everything's going to be like after. Everything just runs through your head.
Liverpool's looking forward to its year as capital of culture starting at midnight. Sir Paul McCartney's performance at Anfield in the summer is the highlight of the year-long festival, launched in January by fellow Beatle Ringo Starr. The city's Anglican Cathedral will host a special service tonight to see in the significant new year. That's it for now. I'm back at 8 rather. In a moment we'll return to Ben and Kate, but first a look at the weather.
Pantene Pro-V Winter Rescue, forecasting a great hair day, whatever the weather. Sponsors of GMTV Weather.
It's a rather cloudy start for the region with some patchy drizzle here and there. There'll be some brightness this afternoon though, but that cloud will return. Mild with temperatures of 9 degrees.
Just looking at the front page on the last day of the year, The Guardian has this. He's 19 years old, Benazir Bhutto's son, Bilawal, and he's been named as her party's leader after just 3 days, of course, since she was assassinated. His picture is on the front page of all the papers this morning. My heart bleeds for Pakistan, he says in The Independent. It deserves better. He's there again in The Times. They also have this story, which is a suggestion that the middle classes are doing much better in school than working class. I have to say that it's a Conservative Party that's analysed this data and put that forward. Daily Telegraph, hospitals admit 500 binge drinkers a day. A surge in binge drinking is causing more and more people to be hospitalised, on the front page of the Telegraph there.
The fund of the Daily Record, Scotland's newspaper of the year, as they say, is the tributes continue to roll in for the tragic death of Phil O'Donnell, who's a Motherwell captain extraordinary who unfortunately passed away on the weekend. The McCanns are going back to Portugal to revitalise the search out there, so the Daily Mirror on the front of the Sun, My Little Angel, Becky Hurst talking about the mourning of her son, Archie Lee Hurst, who died because of the hands of a 10-stone family Rottweiler. And finally, New Year, big freeze is coming. Britain's facing one of the coldest winters in 100 years. Temperatures set to plummet to 17 degrees centigrade, which is going to cause, no doubt, more problems for thousands of us that like to travel on public transport. And those 10,000 that are travelling over New Year could face huge delays today because Network Rail has closed part of the West Coast Main Line. Cordelia Kretschmar is at London Station and Euston Station for us this morning. Problems starting already, Cordelia?
Good morning. Yeah, the headache arrives early this year for rail travellers. The line causing the most pain, as you just mentioned there, is the West Coast Main Line. It's one of the country's busiest, as we all know, operating out of Euston, going from the West Midlands, from North Wales, from North West England and also from Scotland. We've been having a chat to some of the passengers who've caught up in all of this, and this is Leonie Smith. Leonie, thanks for talking to us. So where are you trying to travel to today, and how are you going to get there?
I'm trying to get to North Wales today, back to university. I've got to now get a train to Northampton to then get a bus to Birmingham. So